Maneva na say ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there osia dem yopo.
Hello guys, you are once again welcome to PENDREAM TV, your number one political channel in Ghana and beyond. Today, I want you to join me listening to another bang. If you are a new member, you have not yet subscribed, please do so for us. Hit the notification bell, like and also share to other members to watch as well. Thank you. We'll be right back.
And then maybe do masters, do some businesses and whatever. And I feel like maybe if it is around 35 even, it would have been somehow better than the 30. And then I stand to be corrected. But if you look at us from the African distance, it's like, I don't know how to, I have to be very careful. But it's like those who from the other, especially the Europeans and the Americans, it's like they seem to mature early. And now, when I say like, though we are the same age, but the person seems to already thinking far ahead, and what have you. And then sometimes it takes time for us. Mostly it's at 40 that most of us now begin to realize that we have a lot of responsibilities on us. But in the 30s, we still feel that we are so young and what have you. So for that one, yes, I think I would have preferred that we should just leave it at 40 so that we can get people who are well experienced, who have seen it all, to steer the affairs of the distance. It is just that, I don't know, the constitutional distance, because if you look at what they call it, and then the presidency too, besides the number of years for a term, I think they also sought to suggest like the terms, maybe what we are just hearing, the third term, that one, the people should stop, forget saying those kind of things. There's no any third term for anybody. It is two, this and that. And even if there will be, even if there will be, it is not this particular president who will benefit from that. And that one, I don't think, in fact, Ghanaians will never even allow such to happen. And I think in my brother's Kojo Chum's this and cry, he himself was saying that 5 years cry, if a government is bad, you can imagine the kind of thing that we endure. How much 30 by this? That would be around 15 years, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, that would be around 15 years. So I think the two terms for me, I think is enough for us as Ghanaians. And then the immunities too. For that one, yes. Myself too, I think sometimes for people to be very serious and then, make sure that they do what's expected of them. I think, yes, the years should be brought back a bit. The current one is too much. It gives people room, because by that time, maybe the evidence, some of them might have been erased and thwarted or whatever. But when it is as early as possible, some of the evidence will still be fresh for us to rely on to do whatever we're supposed to do. And appointment of ministers, that one too, I feel like, because if you are a member of parliament, that's why there's a conflict of interest as we speak today in the current governance system. The same member of parliament is the same executive. He comes here, he acts as a legislature. Then he lives there, he goes to his office, he the same this thing. So I think if that can be separated, so like our parliament can be very strong and effective. Because you agree with me, you are a human being. You have a lot of people waiting for you at the office, a lot of business, government business, a lot of letters that you are going to read. The same thing in parliament too. At the committee level too, you have a lot on you. And it's difficult. It's very cumbersome. So I think that one, if they can decouple that particular one, if you are a member of parliament, you have no business in the executive. And then if you are with the executive too, you have no business in the legislature. I think that one too will go a long way to help us. And then the size of the membership of parliament. I also think somewhere along that we should cap it, so that maybe the current one is okay. So that if we are talking of in terms of development going everywhere, we can rather look at the disassemble concept. Maybe this time around, as we speak for now, there are some constituencies, they have about, let's say, there are some, I think constituencies rather, they have about 2 district assemblies and what have you. I think that will rather help maybe the constituency is too big, then they can have 2 assemblies in that particular constituency for developmental distance. But I think the number of seats in parliament as we speak today, I think it's okay for the country. The 276 seats that we have currently, I think that will go a long way to help us. But the bad thing, I want to end on this, that I think we have set a very bad precedent in our law. This thing is the removal of the Chief Justice. For me, from where I sit, we shouldn't be surprised. It's a mirror. Whatever you do to a mirror, you gain the same action back to you. If you smile, it will smile. If you frown, it will frown. And I strongly believe if care is not taken, this particular thing that has happened will revisit us in the near future. And I don't think that will be good for the democracy of this country. That one, I strongly feel that the judicial system should try to do something. And I don't know. We say they are independent, but to frankly, they are not independent. We all know that they are not independent. And that's also a very big problem that is confronting us as a country.
Thank you so much, Sabo, for your submission. Mr. Pratt.
Look, I'm struggling. I've been sitting here, and I'm struggling, I'm really struggling to be fair to my brother Sabo, to be nice to my brother Sabo. So I'm really struggling.
Right.
But is it Sabo? I hope when you go home, you'll be able to play back what you have said on this platform and make your own judgment about your own submissions.
Right.
Listen, you are sitting on this platform and you are saying that most Ghanaians think that the picture which is being painted by the NDC is true. That's your statement.
Yes.
It's not mine.
Yes.
You said it. That most Ghanaians are with the NDC. I mean, they believe that the NDC's picture of the state of the economy is the truth. Who are you then? You think that the most Ghanaians are stupid? Huh? What are you saying? That most Ghanaians are so stupid they cannot tell their conditions of life? Is that what you're saying? Look, the economy, nobody understands the economy and its impact better than the people of the country. They decide. Yeah. And you admit that most Ghanaians actually think that things are good. But you go on to rubbish what most Ghanaians think. I wish you a lot of success in your campaign effort. Then there's this other problem. In one breath, you claim that government has employed so many people. The Flagstaff House is overflowing with employees and so on. And that is why government expenditure is rising. You say that.
Right.
But in the same breath, you say that the government employees are not being paid.
As for that, no.
Master,
No.
You actually pointed to Kolotu Buafo and said he has not been paid.
No.
So if they're not being paid, how does their salary then account for blunting government expenditure?
No, but it's not being fair to you.
It's not normally done.
What I said is that I said on one breath, the government is saying that he is going to cut down expenditure by way of minimizing what they call it, the ministers to be appointed, and indeed he has done that. 60 ministers, is that not it? And I also said that at the presidency, yes, he went and packed a lot of what they call it, presidential staffers at the presidency.
That's what you said.
Yes, so I was not making reference to CEOs and ministers. Of course, ministers and CEOs are different. That is where the government made Ghanaian to believe that he has actually cut down the distance.
So they're paying the government employees.
Now everything. No, but I've quoted the money. If the money that I've quoted are wrong, then maybe that's where you can prove me wrong.
Sabo,
because expenditure, the main listen is on expenditure.
Sabo,
the main point is on expenditure.
Sabo. Listen, say what you want to say and be clear.
Right.
You have said that so many people have been employed, and as a result, government expenditure is bloating.
Yes.
In the same breath, you are telling us that the people who have been employed are not being paid. Now, if they are not being paid, how does that account for over-bloating government expenditure?
The difference between employment and appointment. I didn't say, as one, I'd say employees, those who were actually working in government sectors, they came and they removed most of them.
Yes.
Yes, and then.
So what is responsible for the bloating of government expenditure?
The presidential staffers that they have packed at the presidency.
They are being paid.
Oh yes, for them they are paid.
So who is not being paid?
Because it's in the budget. If they are not paid, then
so who is not being paid?
In fact, none of them has come to tell me that he has received his salary. But the budget has indicated to me that this is what is
my points now.
Going to them.
But Sabo, in 2017, did you people win presidential staffers?
Oh yes, we had. Yes.
Please, can I make my
points?
points?
I need to give you some of the list.
Please, can I make my points? It's getting messy now. But you see, this is the problem with Sabo's presentation. And then he said, Christmas. It was so bad people could not spend Christmas. And yet the traffic congestion.
I didn't say that.
Hey, Sabo.
Oh, no.
Oh, Sabo, please don't destroy my presentation.
Oh, Sabo.
We gave you time to speak. Sabo, you were saying that the traffic congestion, and yet people could not spend Christmas. I mean, things were so bad, people could not spend Christmas, but the traffic congestion in town.
I said the traffic was started flowing. You can just drive through. Because I didn't say...
So he said as at 25th, there was traffic in town because people couldn't travel to their hometown.
I said normal from 20th.
Sabo, can I make my point? When you were talking, everybody said that.
I mean, those who are watching, and there's a playback.
Okay.
I brought all those that I didn't say this.
Okay.
You are saying the other way around.
Okay, no problem.
Sabo.
Then the classic,
you know what I said.
I didn't know.
The classic is on inflation. His presentation on inflation.
Yeah, right.
That's a classic. What? According to him, and I don't know where he got his figures from.
so maybe challenge me with the figures.
Sabo, can I finish? According to him, I'm going to use his own figures, Sabo's own figures. Where he got them from, I don't know. But according to Sabo, they left office with inflation at 22%. 22%. That's the figure he gave.
Right.
Let's assume that figure.
I said, I've forgotten of the other figure. I think I'll look for the other figure. 22 point something percent.
Okay, 22 point something. What? 0.8, 0.9, 0.7, whatever figure you want to give. Give me, let me go now.
I'll Google you. I'll give it to you.
So, according to Sabo, they left office with inflation at 22 point something percent.
Right.
Okay, this is Sabo.
Yes.
According to Sabo's own figures, where he got them from, I don't know. Inflation now is at 12 point something percent.
Yes.
And there's no improvement. Mother, can you believe this? This is Sabo's economics.
You say what I have said, but in economics, you bring another figure to actually dispute what I have said.
So if inflation had declined from your 22 point something percent to 12 point something percent, is that not a significant improvement? You are saying that it is no improvement. Your own figures.
I told you why the inflationary figures are low, because government has refused to spend. Government has refused to release money into the system, and I said everybody can do this. Even me, if they put me there, I can do it.
So there's no improvement.
That is what I've said.
So there's no improvement.
You say you don't say what I said to actually put that to the point. Of course.
Oh,
what is the money?
Sabo, do you know the definition
Can I,
of
please?
inflation?
This is not how we work.
What is it?
Oh, but inflation.
You see, inflation does
Charlie,
not mean
please.
prices
This is
are
not the
increasing.
format for
No. It's the rate
Introduction one for example. Can you allow Mr. Pratt
of
to
time.
have his
That's inflation.
observation? Sabo, please allow Mr. Pratt to.
So that's for inflation. A drop from 22% to 12% is no improvement according to Sabo. Then there's the issue of the value of the city.
Right.
Okay?
Yes.
Sabo is arguing. He's arguing very, very strongly that at the time they were leaving office, the value of the city was around 12 cedis to $1 or so. And that today, they say it has...
I said 14 cities.
14. Oh, better. 14 cedis to $1. That today, they say it is 10 cedis to $1. But he doesn't believe it. His belief and disbelief has become the yardstick for measuring the value of the city. He doesn't believe it. My goodness, what is this? But it gets worse. Then he ventures into the area of constitutional review. Okay? And he's saying that the proposal that the qualifying age should be 30 for a president is not acceptable to him. At least it should be 35. And what is the reason? Europeans mature better than Africans at an early age. They become more responsible at an early age. As for Africans, we are so daft that we mature and become responsible at a higher age. What racism is this, Sabo? Complete racism.
I made it relative to educational system. And I said, oh, you see, no, but with all due respect, it's like
Yes.
you are making it look, because as you bring these points, you don't bring the surrounding West. That
Okay,
made
bring
you
the
say
surrounding
those
West.
things.
Bring the surrounding West, Sabo. I'm waiting for the surrounding
I
West.
actually made reference to our educational system, and even gave the age this and as at the time by the time you finish and the rest. And I said with the European this for them, because of the way they have structured the educational this and
They mature earlier.
Yes.
Sabo, you should be the chairman of the age football team. Because your principal will really...
Oh, true, please.
Right.
No. You see,
Look,
I have made my point
please.
very clear.
Sabo, please, you get another opportunity to respond.
And this is pure racism. If there was anything which was racist, this is it. So I'm just wondering. And then there's this phantom which Sabo conjures up. I haven't seen anywhere a recommendation from the Constitutional Review Committee that there should be a third term for a president. Nowhere. But as for Sabo, the report he has seen, there's a third term in it.
I'm coming.
Where did you see that report?
You wait.
I think they gave me a special report. Oh my goodness. Somebody, they gave me when the team finished their work, they gave me a special report and gave President Mahama another report. Why is it? Anyway, now let me come to the substance of my submission.
Right.
You see, in looking at the economy over the last year, one thing we have to admit is that the NDC or the Mahama administration is still essentially implementing the NPP program. There's no new program.
Right.
Okay. There's an IMF-sponsored program which we haven't come out of yet. You know.
Sabo, please. Sabo, please. Please, Sabo, please, I beg you. Let's.
This is the report. No, I'm just
Sabo, please. Mr. Pratt, you can go ahead.
Okay. So I'm saying that the Mahama administration essentially is implementing the IMF program which the NPP signed.
Right.
Know. So in terms of policy direction and so on, there hasn't been any change. As a matter of fact, there has been no paradigm shift since the Mahama administration took office in terms of the economy. There's been no structural changes in the economy and so on. And yet, the indicators are positive. if you ignore SABO's figures and concentrate on the figures provided by the Ghana Statistical Service and so on, the indications are very positive. So it is important to find out how come that they are implementing the same program and yet there appear to be some positive indicators, at least as far as the macroeconomics is concerned. Now, if you take inflation, there has been a significant reduction in the rate of inflation, you know, and we've come from about 23.45% to single-digit inflation, and that is significant. Now, if you take the value of the cedi, for example, no matter where you pitch it, even if you take SABO's figure of 14, you know, point something to a dollar, we now have a situation where we are exchanging the cedi for a dollar at less than 11 cedis, which is also a significant improvement.
Right.
The debt stock has also gone down considerably, and so on. So how come the two governments are implementing the same program and yet one is showing positive signs and so on? My submission is that it is the result of discipline, you know, discipline and prudence in the management of the same program. Indeed, what has happened is an indication that with discipline and restructuring, Ghana's economy can become very, very, very strong, you know. Now, the other factor which has also led to these very positive indicators is simply changes in commodity prices. You know, commodity prices have changed, especially with gold and so on. These commodity prices have tended to have a very good impact, you know, on the state of the economy. Now, because of the value of the cedi, the appreciation of the value of the cedi, imports have become relatively cheap, and you can actually feel them in the market. In petroleum products, the price of petroleum products have considerably come down. Everybody can attest to that. It is a fact. It is real. This Christmas, I heard many people who said that the price of rice, for example, has come down significantly. The price of cooking oil has come down significantly and so on. So all of these are indicators that the health of the economy as at now is not bad. You know, things are beginning to stabilize. My warning, however, is that any economy that depends for its stability on commodity prices takes a huge risk. And that we cannot, over a long period of time, depend on favorable commodity prices, and that we have to make a shift, because that may not last for a very long time. It may not last forever. We need to make a shift. One of the fundamental problems in a new colony, in the economy of the new colony, simply has to do with who controls government resources and who benefits from the exploitation of government resources and so on, the national resources. And so far, I haven't seen any clear measures which places the management and control of our natural resources in the hands of the Ghanaian people, and it's one area that I would want government to pay attention to.
Right.
Now, I've always said that these statistics do not always tell the full story, you know, when it comes to evaluating an economy. Now, they do not tell the full story because they are statistical averages. And sometimes it's important to go beyond the statistical averages, you know, to tell what the real situation is.
Right.
So far, I haven't seen any study which has attempted to go beyond the statistical averages, you know, to tell that real story. But that's an exercise worthy of, you know, undertaking. So that's about the state of the Ghanaian economy. One, this government is implementing the same program that the NPP implemented. There have been no structural changes. There have been no fundamental paradigm shifts and so on. The results, however, are different. The results of the Akufo-Addo managed economy and the Mahama managed economy are different. And I attribute that to discipline and prudence in the management of, resources. Now, brief comments on the constitutional review, which has started. One, all the recommendations that this committee made, what problems are they meant to cure? For example, this thing about increasing the presidential term from 4 years to 5 years. What is the problem that this is going to solve? I don't see it. You understand? I don't see how 1 extra year added to the president's term can solve any problem. Why? What problem do we have that anybody can point to and say that it is because the president has only 4 years, a 4-year term, runs a 4-year term? There's no such problem. So I think that this is useless.
Right.
I think we should discard it completely. I don't think that has any relevance, and so they should pack it somewhere. Then there are other provisions which are very, very interesting. This problem about reducing the presidential qualifying age from 40 to 30. What is it going to cure? Given the concrete problems that face us today, what is it going to cure? I don't see it. You understand? I don't see it. And who told the review committee that this is a concern of the Ghanaian people? I don't see it at all.
Right.
In fact, so far, I haven't seen any of the recommendations which will fundamentally change Ghana. There's nothing like that. They did not look at the ownership of national resources and how to control national resources and its exploitation and so on. There's no provision like that, and I think that is really fundamental. Now, we are all agreed that African continental unity is a key to the advancement of all African nations. It is not there in the provisions. It is ignored. These are the major fundamental questions that are not present in the review. Okay. So I'm not impressed. I am not impressed. The fundamental questions have not been addressed by the Constitutional Review, committee. But now let me tell you my biggest worry. There are so many items that the review committee, has recommended. I'm hoping that we would not organize a referendum in which we are told to vote yes or no. Because that would mean absolutely nothing. If you organize a referendum and we are told to vote yes or no, and so on, what would we be voting no for? And what would you be voting yes for? So if there's a need for a referendum, I would like to see the specific questions listed. So there shouldn't be just one vote of yes or no. Provision 1, yes or no. Provision 2, yes or no, and so on. Now, that's a more difficult exercise to organize, and I'm wondering our capacity as a country, as a people, and as a government to be able to organize a referendum which speaks to the specific issues which are being proposed. Because other than that, this becomes a charade. Like all referenda on constitutions in the past have tended to be a charade. I remember 1992. There were several provisions in the constitution that people did not like. But the attitude of the opposition was that let's all go and vote yes. At least if you take us to constitutional rule, we'll be able to defeat the NDC, and then we will start a new process of writing a new constitution. That was the attitude in 1992.
Right.
So there were so many people who voted yes for the constitution. Even though they had so many reservations about the constitution, they were voting yes for.
They voted yes.
For example, the indemnity clauses were clauses which many people were not happy with. And yet they voted yes for the constitution, which included the indemnity clauses that they didn't like. Only because they wanted a constitution anyhow, to serve as a stepping stone to building democratic institutions and so on. And I'll be very, very worried if we organize a referendum on this constitutional review, we simply urge people to vote yes or no. Now, in all of these discussions about the economy and so on, I think we are also essentially talking about governance and the role of political parties in that governance process. And to be honest with you, I am in full agreement with lawyer Apia Dankwa. Listen, one of the problems we have had is that governments are elected in this country, have been elected in this country on the ticket of political parties. Once they assume office, the political parties don't matter anymore. The philosophy of the party doesn't matter. The political program of the party doesn't matter anymore, and so on. I am very, very happy, exceedingly happy, that in this administration, the party, the NDC, is asserting itself and trying to provide direction to government and insisting that this is the party line and that we have to toe the party line. It is the party which went to the electorate. These are the promises we made to the people, and we have to fulfill those promises. I'm so impressed by the way the National Democratic Congress has behaved over the last couple of months. And I'm particularly impressed by the General Secretary of the party, Fifi Kwesi. His last speech was an excellent speech. This was a speech in which he said, look, this is not the time for sycophants. This is not the time for people who think that praise singing will give them what they want. We have a task to rebuild this country. We have a task to make life more bearable and comfortable for our citizens. And the praise singing and sycophancy has to be reduced. Who can disagree with this? Who can disagree with this? And then he makes the most important point about those who are struggling and printing T-shirts about third term for President Mahama and so on. And I fully agree with Fifi Kwesi. Why do they want to destroy Mahama? Why are these sycophants bent on destroying Mahama and his democratic credentials? It is pure sycophancy. Look, President Mahama was in office as vice president. He became president, and then he has become president. In fact, in our history, he will be the longest serving president in the Fourth Republic. What else do you want to add to him? If he cannot perform given these circumstances, no matter what you do, he won't perform. You understand?
Right.
And I believe very strongly that it is possible for him to leave a legacy after these 4 years. Why? Are we saying that out of the 35 million Ghanaians, there's only one person who can be leader? You can't say that. This is a reckless path to destruction. And I'm sure, I am very sure, that if those sycophants continue to pursue this line, they will be helping to revive the NPP. They'll be giving the NPP ammunition which it doesn't deserve. And my shock is that they are not listening to the president himself. How many times has President Mahama come out to say that he's not interested in a third term? Can't they hear him? The man says he's not interested in a third term. He is satisfied with the 4 years that he's been given. In any case, look at Ghana. I invite everybody to look at Ghana. How long was Nkrumah in power? In fact, if you want to take it from the time when we became a republic, when we became fully self-governing and so on, he was in power for less than 6 years. If you want to start from 1957, he was in power for 9 years. 9 years.
Right.
Look at the achievements of the Nkrumah government. Look at the massive infrastructural development. Look at the commitment to the unity of Africa. Look at the establishment of non-aligned movements and so on. All of that happened in 9 years. Indeed, in his last 2 years, everything worked against him. Cocoa prices went down and so on. And yet, look at what he achieved. So if you look at the Nkrumah government, it is clear that it is possible for governments to achieve monumental successes if they have 8 years, if they have 2 terms or 4 years. So if Nkrumah achieved all of this, and you have a president that you believe is doing well, why do you want 15 years for him? For him to achieve anything, why do you want 15 years for him? In any case, President Mahama is in his last term. He has just about ended the first year of a 4-year term. So this thing about he's doing wonders and so on, where is it coming from? His first year has been very good. Sabo admits that the majority of Ghanaians believe that his first year has been very good.
Right.
You understand?
Yes.
But how do you make a judgment on the basis of the first year of a 4-year term? You can't. Given the way things are going, I'm optimistic that the Mahama administration will do very well. Given the way things are going, I think they're on the right track within the framework of neoliberal economics and politics. Okay?
Right.
They could have done better if they had made attempts to recalibrate and so on. They are not doing that. But within this neoliberal context, they appear to be doing well. You understand?
Right.
Let those who want President Mahama to succeed work hard, make sacrifices, push the agenda for him to achieve the programs that I've outlined so far, the big push project and so on. Let them work on that. That is the legacy that he should leave behind, and he should be helped to build that legacy rather than being propelled to total destruction. Look, I've lived in this country for some time. You know, I'm not a young man. And I know the history of this country. Look, 1972 to 1976. General Achampong was a national hero. He was virtually being worshipped everywhere. Do you know what brought Achampong down? What brought Achampong down was a perception that he wanted to stay in power forever. He wanted to prolong his stay in power. In the end, in 1979, when Achampong was being shot at the stakes, he was being shot to public applause. If you know this history, you would not engage in this sycophancy, which Fifi Kwesi condemns and which I agree with. You know, I don't understand what has come over these people and the way they are carrying on. I mean, who the hell authorized the printing of T-shirts 2028? A third term is possible. Who authorized it? And it's not just being printed, they are wearing it and taking videos of themselves and showing it. Is that the party decision? Even if the NDC wants to canvass for a third term for Mahama, is that how to do it? Is that how to do it? I'm so embarrassed by this crass sycophancy, extreme sycophancy. And I fully support Fifi Kwesi and the stance he's taking.
Right.
You understand? And I support the party, the NDC party, for taking a firm stand against this madness, this maddening sycophancy.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Pratt, for your submission. We would have to deal with our final topic before we close. And I'll start again with Kuyochumbuafo on that one. We are looking at the performance of some state institutions like the OSP, Parliament, and the judiciary. We have like 18 more minutes to go.
Thank you for watching. PENDREAM TV really appreciate your time and say God bless you for the good work you are doing. We much appreciate your time here on PENDREAM TV. And if you really enjoyed this video, please do leave a comment below, like and also share to other members to watch as well. Don't forget to subscribe to keep you updated whenever you made a post. Thank you and stay blessed.
Dedi kama mamena PENDREAM TV ase. Na so far so good. Say open online portal e wo Ghana. Ah nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases. PENDREAM TV.